This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook, and I got my new good friend, Ben Baller, entrepreneur, CEO of If& Co. This man, he tells it like it is, and he makes it happen. That's what I've learned this morning already. Ben, welcome to the Playbook.
Thank you, man. How you doing? I'm glad to be here.
You know, I'm going to start right where I left off in the fact that all great entrepreneurs must be what they can be. And I didn't know you played football.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, my claim to fame is, I dreamed about being a professional football player. My first college football game, I got ran over by Christian Okoye, and I laid on my back. My mom always said, doctor, lawyer, or failure. That's all I heard in my ears. Doctor.
Hey, man. Azusa Pacific, Okoye, man.
You got it, man. So where did you play?
So I got my scholarship playing for UC Berkeley, Cal, Pac-10, not Pac-12. Once I realized two things. One, academically, I couldn't hang, even though I had a scholarship. It was a situation where I understood what boosters were and things like that. And when I started realizing, hey, man, if you're not on the traveling team, and even more so, you're not on the rotation, you start to realize, all right, man, well, two things. The starters, I never saw them in class. And I'm not hating or anything else. Look, man, if you're fucking great at something, cool. I just found out, yesterday or the day before yesterday, that they're allowing college players to get paid for the likeness down their name and stuff, which, sucks for all these millions of billions of dollars that could have happened with other players, but whatever, it's there and that's cool. I'm all about progress. But, for someone getting paid $500 back in 1991, which is a lot of money, to turn the lights off in the gym, and you're like, what the hell? And that counts as hours and things like that. You start to realize, all right, man, this is where I really stand. And me being, all conference, all state, all everything. I wasn't all American, but you get to camp, and we're in Vallejo, California, at a naval base, and it's not really hot in the Bay Area. I love the Bay. I'm from LA, but I love the Bay. I'm there, but it happened to be hot as hell this week. And I remember, I'm running against guys that are, 360 pounds, running 4.8, 4.7 40s. And I'm like, how the fuck is this possible? You know what I mean? I'm running a 4.48, 4.5, and I'm slow for a DB. And I'm like, damn. And these guys are just so right behind me. And I just couldn't compete at that level. And number two, Cal doesn't have a film school. And that's what I really wanted to pursue. So I was kind of like, all right, man, so what do I do? Okay, so I went across the Bay, went over the Bay Bridge, transferred to San Francisco State, ended up being in the rotation, playing at a Division II school, playing football, playing cornerback. My DB coach from Cal came to SF State, which was amazing. I ended up playing basketball as well. So I was the first Asian American to play basketball and football in my university's history. And I guarded Steve Nash 2-3 years in a row. The crazy thing is, you have a Christian Okoye story. To me, that sounds much cooler because I admired him. I was a big fan of running backs. Him and Barry Sanders coming up, Okoye was a Nigerian nightmare. You say that to a guy who doesn't know about sports, he wouldn't know who the fuck that was, right, today. Now, when I played, I remember one of my first big plays in my conference. Our conference was the NCAC. Sonoma State is in our conference when we played them, every year, no matter what. And my first play is a screen pattern. So I'm DB, left side. I run back. I'm like, oh, shit, they're running a screen. And so I'm waiting there. I hear my coach, Schneider, saying, I don't give a fuck, gang. You go right through them. The wall comes. Screen pattern, right? Who's in the middle of the wall? Larry Allen, possibly the greatest offensive lineman in the history of football. We're talking about the Tom Brady, Michael Jordan. We're talking about the greatest lineman ever in history. And this dude's
He's Jonathan Ogden category.
Yeah. And he's like in front of me. And I remember the only thing I can compare it to was in 2005, which was many years later, I got into a really bad car accident, a motorcycle accident, and I flipped about 13 times. And the pain of me hitting the asphalt was nothing compared to me hitting Larry Allen. That's how much it felt like a goddamn straight concrete door, So so I got to play. We lost our program my junior year. And then I tried to pursue playing pro basketball overseas, and that didn't last either. Well, I think I was just too much of a diva, man. I had a lot where it was mental here and there, but there was like certain conditions. I didn't come from much, but being in mainland China in the early 90s was not the business, man. It's not really, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have nothing against China. Being in mainland China, it's like you start to realize you can be a billionaire and things like air conditioning, ice cubes, they don't really like, it's doesn't exist. Like it's just crazy. You know, it's like, come on, man, it's fucking 2020, man. Can I get a bucket of ice? Can I have the AC running all the time? So just imagine in 1994, 95, it was like breakfast was 30 cents. And I'm like, bro, I can't play basketball here. But then think about, you know, many years later, you got Stephon Marbury, who, you know, it's changed a lot.
And Stephon Marbury, actually, I started years ago branding myself because I saw myself as kind of in the sports executive space, the B-level character that Stephon Marbury. I'm like, man, if this guy can brand himself and fool all these people that he's a legend, I'm gonna make myself a legend in China. And so I hooked up with Cena, and you know, we've done a lot of stuff. We actually do the sideline off-court stuff in China for the NBA and started expanding out. So all because I built my brand there the same way Steph did early on. Now, one of the greatest attributes that you have that attracts, like, you know, I'm going to go straight out, attracts me to you is that you're so illuminating and honest. Like, you're one of the few guys to be like, well, I was, you know, to be honest, I wasn't a good enough student to be there. And I just wasn't good enough to do this. And have you been that way? Because when I was young, and we grew up in a very similar economic status, like I was always overselling, you know, like I was better than I was when I was young, right? I couldn't be honest like you are. And I'd make myself smarter, better, richer. I would lie and tell everyone, like, you know, how successful, and I was broke as shit, right? Like I would just exaggerate. Were you like that as a young guy and learned to be this way?
It's crazy, man. You just basically explained me in a nutshell. Like, you just basically, I must have made up so many fucking fictitious just friends in life, you know, like, oh, I was cool with this person. And it's funny because in a way, even though we came from a lower middle class, I guess we weren't like destitute, right? My brother was part of, there's actually something above Mensa. He was above Mensa. My brother went to Phillips Academy, Exeter. My sister went to Andover. So you're talking about, they went to school with the Kennedys and things like that on scholarship academically. I was lucky. I mean, I ain't gonna say that. I got 1,060 on my SAT, but I mean, I was lucky to get, like, you know, my brother was put in the hospital. My dad beat him to near death. And this is not a joke. He put him in the hospital. At 14 years of age, my brother got a 1580. He missed one question on the SAT. And my dad beat him into oblivion, right? And like, when it got to me, I got arrested so many times. I got in so much trouble. I just lied to everyone, even my parents. I lied about this, this, and this. And the crazy part was, even though I was good in football, right? I lied to my coaches. I was like, hey, man, did that letter from UC Davis come? Did the letter from USC come? Yeah, shut the fuck up. And they're like, holy shit, it did come. And they're like, how did you figure that? I just knew how to market myself at a young age. So even me, I was able to bullshit, figure things out, how to beat the system. And as I got a little older, all the lies, I almost manifested into a real life. And I was like, holy shit, I'm actually here now. Like, it's crazy the way you said that, but I gotta be honest, you know what I mean? Like, I will be real about this. Guarding Steve Nash in college, he was all right. It was nothing ever. Playing against Jason Kidd in college, high school, I'm like, holy shit, this dude's maybe the best person in my entire life. And I still believe that throughout his NBA career and whatever. Watching Michael Jordan on the same basketball court going through leagues because Bill Cartwright went to USF, University of San Francisco, and like seeing them play. I understand things, but like seeing things like, I don't know. And then I remember in football being hit by certain people, like, holy shit, and these guys couldn't cut it in the NFL. You realize how fucking serious the level of competition is. So just in life, like I said earlier in your IG Live, you know, I try to take it like, okay, this ain't gonna happen for me. Genetically, I wasn't built. My body doesn't have, you know, this type of build for these sports. Okay, so what can I do? Now, I don't want to act, and I might have, had it been 30 years later, because there's Crazy Rich Asians or whatever, but it's like there was nothing. There was Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. So it's like there's no real representation in popular culture or even films or anything. So I was like, man, you know, I think music is for me. And it wasn't until like later that I was like, man, I'm in music now. Okay, I hate music. I hate the business. The business made me hate, actually didn't even like listen to music anymore. You know, I'd listen to Bob Marley and like Led Zeppelin or older music. I haven't stopped listening to hip hop when I was born and raised all my life, loving it. I was like, the business of this is so scummy. I was like, let me go do something else. And, you know, every business is going to have a struggle or something that sucks or whatever. Like, oh, these people don't donate enough. Oh, there's blood diamonds. How could you be there when there's so much conflict in Africa and blah, blah, whatever. I just started realizing, especially since Twitter and the internet was invented, everyone has some kind of complaint about something. And everyone, including myself and you and everyone else, everyone just needs to shut the fuck up and stop being so sensitive. you know, because you're never going to get shit done if you please everybody, you know?
Well, also that need to be offended goes along with it. I always tell people, if we had a need, the need to be offended gets fed so quickly and easily. If we could feed people on earth as easily as we feed the need to be, like, people go out looking to be offended and it comes so fast. I mean, they literally look to be offended. I've had people, and I'm sure you have, you know, just the most ridiculous things. Like, you know, I had a doctor one time, and he said on the interview, he was saving lives in New Orleans. And he was talking about this little old lady that came in to put her life at risk to hold her hand, you know, a first responder, you know, someone that's putting their life at risk just to comfort this little old lady. And I got blown up about how dare him call her a little old lady. I was like, well, she's little, she's old, and she's a lady. You know what I mean?
It's just too much, man, you know?
Yeah.
I'm thankful to grow up in the era I did, you know?
Yeah, without video phones too. You know, one of the things that I'm most grateful for, you'd have to you waste film with 13 pictures on a small little camera. But we were talking earlier about learning to find light, love, and lessons and things. And the other thing that I've learned about you, Ben, is that you're the type of person, a realist about, you know, not everything's perfect. You find a way to find light. And so many people don't do that. You know, you've been up and down like myself, but you know, when you're down, you're finding a way to find the light. When people are throwing shit your way, you're finding the light. You just are like a light-seeking human that looks to expand to the light, and you're never gonna quit. You're like a little mule. You know, where you are, dude. But where do you find, you know, that ability to say, you know, everything's all screwed up around me, but I'm gonna be the guy to find the light and go ahead and make something of this?
You know, I read this. Look, I don't read very many books, and I'll be honest with you, I might have read maybe 3 books in the last 20, 30 years, right? And people are like, I didn't like school, I didn't like anything else. But someone told me to go read Phil Jackson's autobiography. This is a long time ago. And I read a bit of it, and I stopped once he said, if you have no expectations, you'll never be disappointed. And I said, man, fuck that shit, bro. Look, man, I demand more out of life. I want more out of life. You know, I want better things. I want certain things, right? And like at the time, it might have been like, I want a BMW. Okay, boom, I get the BMW. I want the Rolex. I get that. And I go broke and realize, all right, those aren't the answer. Okay, boom. All right, I want to get married. Okay, I want to have a house. I want to have a Rolls Royce. I want to have a Ferrari. I want to have a Lamborghini. All right, I want to get a Lamborghini and a Ferrari. I want to have this. And I get all those things. I'm like, all right, that ain't shit. I want to have kids. All right, boom. Started realizing, say, you know what? Everything's just shit. So yeah, it sometimes I'll just sit there and be like, all right, well, you know what? It's okay to admit that the world is shit right now, especially right now with COVID and everything. And my son having a severe respiratory disease. So this is particularly aimed at him. And I'm like, yo, man, I spent all of his life, 70% of his life in the hospital fighting for this. Now I'm in this situation like, all right, well, you're blessed here, you're blessed here, you're blessed here. You have these great things, okay, but my son's health is not exactly great. Where do I find the light? I got to find that balance, right? I can't sit there and be like, well, this kid's okay and this, no, fuck that, you know? So, you know, where I find light is helping people. So I'm like, okay, well, now I got to figure out who else is fucked up or in a similar situation and how can I help them? And they don't have to help me necessarily, but I'll feel a little better knowing I helped somebody else out. And that's helped me find some light with my son's issues. And with that said, you know, sure enough, as time has gone by and me being a little patient, I'm not very patient, by the way, David, no matter what you think, I'm the most impatient person you'll know. I started to find some people who wanted to help me. And I don't know if it was, you know, if I manifested it again, or if just like, hey, we found this doctor who can cure your son of some of these respiratory illnesses and things like that. And we just started going on it. And then COVID happens and we can't really go see them because I don't want to risk my son being in the situation. But like that being one thing, me being completely broke and just losing everything. And that's my fault because I spent it on stupid shit. I didn't save. And it's like, okay, well, we're in a situation now. You got 25 something million people filing for unemployment. And I'm like, people are like, hey, you know, you should do this. You should donate. You know what you should do? You should give someone, hey, you know what you should do? How about you shut the fuck up and don't worry what the fuck I do? Because if each and every one of us took care of each other and we took care of our own immediate responsibilities, my immediate responsibility is not to help people in Puerto Rico or here and there. My immediate responsibility is to help my mom out, my kids, my wife, their family, my people in my neighborhood, a Koreatown, my hood, take care of that. Boom. Let me take care of that. That's my immediate responsibilities. You know, I'm gonna sit there and help them. So fuck that. You know, you take care of what you got to take care of. I'm gonna take care of what I got to take care of. And with that said, I prepared for this. I said last year, you know what? I feel like a recession is coming. And people have been saying this for a long time. But I'm like, look, man, I'm not saying I'm sitting here fat. I definitely lost a couple of my major incomes, right? But I have other streams of revenue that have been coming in during the pandemic because I have felt like, look, man, I refuse to lose. I'm going to find a way to get some money somehow, some way. But what I'm going to do is not shit on somebody, not step on somebody's head. Now, I can be a savage, and if I have to, you know, I will. But I'm not in that dire straits moment right now. Do you know what I mean? I'm just being, I'm playing chess, and I've been playing chess in a certain way to where I've, you know, positioned myself to be okay. And with that, it's kind of like that flashlight and certain things. You know, I've always, I don't know. It's like if you don't have, some people don't have a flashlight, right? And I've always somehow found matches, a light, somehow, some way. I've always managed to, you know, like I've been arrested before and been able to like have a little bit of weed in my pocket. You know, they search me for everything. And then I just ate the weed in jail. You know, I've always found some way to sneak some way in. And one thing, and I've never ever talked about this before. Like I said, David, you asked me great questions. I've found a way to have a flashlight or matches or a lighter or some sort of shine somewhere so that I can find a path.
You're a spiritual MacGyver. All right, I'm going to do, since you complimented me and said ask questions and nobody else does, this is going to be a parallel no one's ever made of Ben Baller, but I'm making it. I've been blessed to be with Deepak Chopra, interview Deepak Chopra.
Wow.
You guys actually are similar, and I'll tell you why. Deepak's lesson in life, the number one lesson in his life is what Wayne Dyer taught, what the Xanders taught. I call it rule number 6 in life. It's don't take yourself so goddamn seriously. And everything that you say, you just don't take, you're a ferocious Buddha, like I said earlier. You're ferocious as a motherfucker, like literally ferocious, but you're a Buddha in the sense that you don't take yourself so seriously, and you just, underneath all the rough exterior and the, you know, the shit that you throw around, you have this huge kind heart, and you're processing, you know, all these people that you help, and it almost justifying how many people you help. I'll tell you one thing I've learned, and this for everyone out there, you know, because I lost a shitload of money in 2008, and I wanted to be helpful to people. So I said, you know what, every year I'm just going to put the percentages of what I'm going to give no matter what happens, and whatever I make, so much goes to my wife, so much to my kids, to my mom, to my community, to the state, to the country, and to the world. You know, I build villages in Africa, stuff like that. But if there's only $1 there, you know, everybody's going to get pennies, you know. But if there's $100 million, everyone's going to be fat. So when COVID happened, you know, I already unemotionally, before the beginning of the year, predetermined the distribution. And then my main focus always is actually through abundance on me. Because if I'm not intaking, nobody else is getting.
Yeah.
And I spent so much time worrying about people I didn't even like, you know, buying shit I didn't even like or need, like all this time and energy. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to focus on taking care of me, my health, my wealth, my happiness, all for the purpose of giving it all away. Because one thing I know about you and me, we've already bought it all. Right? Yeah. There's nothing I need. What really brings me joy is making the money, and allowing me to see the joy that it brings to other people, because I don't want any cars anymore. I don't need anywhere. I'm literally in a closet, man. I got a closet that now is a guest room, a sitting room, a desk, a closed closet, and a studio. And I'm thinking about, how do I productize people and have a closet where people can live?
Right.
I'm gonna have the Meltzer pods all over the universe, so homeless people can live in a closet and have all those features really inexpensively.
No, I hear you, man. But the thing is, I do like having a nice home. You know, I think it helps during COVID with my kids. You know, they're not going so crazy on top of each other. You know, we lived in a condo 5 years ago. I don't think it would have worked today, thank God. They're like playing with the waterfall and the bounce house and the pool and shit and everything else. But if I didn't have that space, I think I'd go crazy. You know,
yeah. But you work for that stuff. I'm blessed. I have two homes, and we're 3 days at one, 4 days at, just for a chain of scenery. And you know, I don't feel bad about it. I used to feel guilty. I have a saying, man, you'll like this. I cannot be poor enough to make you rich, but I can be rich enough to make everybody rich. and that's my goal. You know,
That's amazing.
I'm not going to apologize for it. You know,
I just said it on Twitter a month ago. I said, look, man, I'm not apologizing for shit. I'm not sorry. Listen, none of my shit was by accident. I'm not sorry for nothing. You can try to make me feel bad for being successful, for me working for it. Fuck that. I'm not, looking, man, it sucks. You know, there's tragedies, that there's people who can't figure it out. There's people who don't have a lot, and I do my part. That's all I can do, man. You know, it's like to give everything up. It's not me, man. You know, I want to enjoy my life too. You know, like people are like, hey, why don't you give this? No, fuck you. I like that.
All right, last question.
And I'm not being a dick, but yeah, go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Let's get to the kids, but I want this last question. Your perspective on ego, because you've evolved with your ego, you've illuminated some of it, but I'd love to hear your perspective on, you know, what ego is and what it does to your life.
Well, you know, I tell people I used to have an ego, but now I'm perfect. So, you know, now
that's so good.
You know, fuck, man. You know, another thing, it's something I wasn't prepared to answer. You know, I think, like, you know, my ego it's my best friend, it's my worst enemy. You know, you have to know, it's not like, you know, some people don't have that volume control on the remote control. Like, all right, let's put ego to 10. No, let's put ego to 3 today. Let's put ego to there. And once I finally got that remote control in my life, I was like, okay, the best thing to do when meeting people who I like, or I'm impressed with or whatever, I gotta turn the ego down, because I think my personality is so loud that people could see me. My brother said this to me before. My brother's like, Ben, you could be sitting in a room doing nothing. You'd be wearing a white t-shirt and sweatpants. And people be like, yo, man, you gotta fucking shut the fuck up, bro. You gotta chill out. And I haven't said a single word. I'm like, what the fuck did I do? You know, when my brother said that to me, I was like, wow, man, that's fucked up. You know, he goes, Ben, I'm telling you, you're loud, man. Nothing has to happen. I'm not wearing any gold chains, no jewelry, nothing. And it's like, I understood what he meant. So, you know, I kind of just try to kill him with kindness. And I feel like, you know, the ego is I don't know why. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah, I did that. Oh, yeah, I fucked that chick. Or, you know, who knows? You know, you start to get carried away. And I'm like, fuck, then I think about it. I'm like, damn, why did I do that, man? And then people are like, yo, you know, you say, like, you shouldn't take yourself so serious. It's like, you know, it's a weight, you know, it's like a balance. So it's like, all right, well, shit, man, I don't know why I said that. I should have fucking shit on that guy like that. He didn't deserve that. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it hits me like, all right, you know what? Let me tone this down here. Boom. Now, if I'm speaking at a school, or I'm like speaking in front of, you know, less fortunate kids, I don't necessarily turn the ego up, but my confidence and me being bold and it just comes out a lot. You know what I mean? I have a don't fuck with me. I'm here to tell you guys how to get this shit popping. All right. If I made it out of this fucking piece of shit ass area, there's no reason why you can't. I made $3.85 a fucking hour working at Burger King. You motherfuckers are talking about you don't want to work at, you know, Trader Joe's, or where the fuck that has unions. It's like, come on, man. But you know, the ego, I don't know, man. It's not a drug. What is it, man? It's like a gun. You know, it's like you could use it and you might kill somebody, or you might need to pull it out, be like, hey man, hold on. I don't know. It's hard to put it into a proper metaphor. I've never really, but I just know that it's been more my enemy than it has been my friend. And I'm just learning how now.
I love the remote control analogy, because I've never heard. I think that's the best balance of what you're saying. An ego is like your volume, and you turn it down when you need to, you turn it up when you need to. And I think that describes you perfectly as the ferocious Buddha you are, man. And we're gonna have to connect. I gotta figure out how to get a piece of jewelry now with my ferocious Buddha.
Let's do it, man.
Ben Baller jewelry. That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate all your insight, your wisdom. I'm really looking forward to doing more things with you, man. And I'm grateful to have you on. Thank you so
David,
much.
Honestly, man, I can't believe this. Like, you're fucking amazing, man. I'm really like, I'm so like, I don't know, man. It's really weird the way you said how you said I lied about this and blah blah whatever. I fucking had all my numbers. I said this and I had a fucking 11-inch penis. Like, come on, man. You know, I said everything you could possibly say. And I just think, man, wow, man. And even just Deepak, like, holy shit. Look, my mentor I told you about that was telling me that you should think about people when you're in traffic and certain things. He's the first person that gave me erroneous zones, Wayne Dyer.
Oh, yeah.
You look at someone like me, where I grew up, where my store was in the hood, and all the gangsters that grew up and everything else. You think a fucking person like that, me or my friends, would know who the fuck Wayne Dyer was? And it's just, I thank my boy for knowing that. I love the fact that I could be well-rounded enough to be in any arena and have a conversation with them, unless it's country music. But like, I'm even getting there now. You know, I'm doing country music stars, jewelry, and things like that. But I mean, I just, man, I feel like you really brought some amazing, I don't know. I felt like my attributes all came out with this interview, man. You're a dope dude.
We have so much in common. My younger brother went to Harvard, summa cum laude, 1580 on his SAT. Asshole took it again and got a 1560. So take it there. So I know what it feels like. The incredible Ben Baller here with Dave Meltzer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you on Entrepreneurs, the Playbook. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.